I'd like to introduce our next guest, Michael Posner. He is the US Assistant Secretary of State in the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labour, and he joins me now. Thank you very much indeed for coming into Bloomberg today.
My pleasure.
We have all these events unfolding in the Middle East. I'd like to start in Bahrain. I believe that you went to Bahrain recently. People are disappearing there. We've got doctors being put on trial. And yet, many are saying that the US isn't coming out as forcefully there as elsewhere. Why is that?
Well, I don't accept that. I was there last week, in fact, met with a range of senior government officials, raised a range of concerns, held a press conference in Manama. President Obama spoke last month about the Middle East and spoke about Bahrain. So we are both mindful of the problems. The problems are very real that you describe. At the same time, the government's called for a dialogue, and we're very hopeful that parties that are very much at odds now begin to come to that dialogue and have a real discussion about what the differences are.
The US is not asking for the government there to stand down in the way it has done elsewhere.
No, we're not, and I think our view is we have a long-standing relationship with that government.
But indeed, and the Fifth Fleet's there, so it would be very uncomfortable for you if that were to go. Right?
But it's also uncomfortable for us that there are the problems you identify. People are being detained without charge. There are people being put on trial. We have concerns about that. People have lost their jobs because they demonstrated. Those are things that we've raised. I raised last week, we'll continue to raise, and that's not an environment in which you can have a dialogue that's going to succeed. So there really needs to be change on the part of the government as well.
And what kind of influence do you have there? Do you have enough influence to prevent that from happening?
Well, we have influence in any number of these countries, but it's not unlimited. And our view is that we ought to be clear about our principles. Universal Declaration of Human Rights applies to all. And we ought to be forthcoming about what our concerns are, and at the same time reinforcing those elements within a government like Bahrain that are trying to move forward.
And isn't it very important, though, that you're not seen to have double standards here, that you're going a lot easier on Bahrain for other reasons than you are on countries like Syria and Libya?
President Obama has said that we are going to engage in a principled way around the world, hold everybody, including ourselves, to the same standard of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That's what we're doing. Our relationship with some of these governments is different. We don't have a relationship with Assad in Syria that allows us to go in and have the kind of conversations we do in Bahrain. But the same standard apply, and we're trying to be effective in actually making sure that these rights are respected.
Now, what about leaders like Gaddafi and Assad? Would the US push for them to be tried at the ICC for human rights abuses?
Look, what we've said in Libya is it's time for Gaddafi to go. We've supported and been part of the no-fly zone, but we recognize that right now the priority is to have the Libyan people have a chance to shape their own destiny in a different way. And that's only going to happen when Gaddafi leaves, and we then try to figure out how to pick up the pieces. That's our priority for right now.
How damaged do you think US's credibility has been by the events in Abu Ghraib, and indeed by the previous administration's, I think it was called enhanced interrogation, but many would call it torture?
Before I came into government, I worked for a human rights organization, and we worked on those issues quite a bit. I came into government precisely because on his second day in office, President Obama said no to enhanced interrogations, no to torture. Those things, I think, did hurt our credibility as a country, as a government, but the President has been absolutely resolute in saying there's a zero tolerance of official cruelty. That's the position of the United States now, and it works to our benefit that we uphold that and sustain it.
Okay. Mr. Posner, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.